Broadcasting live from Gaia's Cradle on the plane of Dominaria. It's TapTapConcede. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of TapTapConcede. This is episode 161. I felt like doing sort of a limited resources thing there. And I only did it because I actually remembered what episode number this was. So don't ever expect that to happen. Again, hey, I'm James. I'm joined by
Cameron.
With
Alex.
And we are here today to answer all of your questions that we asked of you on Twitter the other day. So we're going to try to get through. I really want to try to get through all of the questions. So that's my goal.
We'll see what we can do.
So we're gonna try real hard. But first, we got to crack a pack. So Alex, roll the dice, or throw it like
Later.
a maniac.
Come on, one time.
It's on 12. And let's go from this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's nothing but unglued for like a bunch of those.
I think that's why we go from the other side, James.
9, 10, 11, 12. 12? Shards of Alara.
Ooh.
That's kind of fun.
That is fun. I'm excited.
And then he cascaded into another bird elf.
All right, so this is from Grant, Doc Awesome Games, from PAX West from this past year. So thank you so much, Grant, for passing along this
Was
pack.
it just this expansion or the entire set that was multicolor only?
That was Alara Reborn.
That was, Alara
Okay.
Reborn.
That was the shtick.
Yeah.
But this was a very multicolored.
It is a very multicolored set, yeah. All right, so first up, we have Jungle Weaver. 5 green for a 5/6 reach spider. It has cycling 2, which means you can discard it to draw a card. This seems okay.
Big spider.
I mean,
Yeah,
again,
I mean-
in terms of limited play, I would probably play this card.
Yeah, also
pretty
this,
down
if I recall correctly, Naya's shard ability required creatures with power 5 or greater.
Okay.
So this would turn on a lot of those abilities.
Also, this is kind of nice because, like, if you open with this, you're like, I'm not going to get to this yet. I'll cycle it.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
it replaces itself.
Cycling is a deceptively powerful ability.
it's
Absolutely,
real
it is,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, Crawworm, got it.
Yeah, pretty much. Next up is Ethereum Sculptor. Believe this card was reprinted in
Modern Masters.
One of the Modern Masters
Modern-
sets.
mo-
I think
the first one.
first one, yeah. This is 1 in a blue for a artifact creature, Vidalcan Artificer. It's a 1/2, and it causes all your artifact spells you play to cost 1 colorless less.
So the ones that cost 1 cost nothing.
Yeah, are free.
Yeah.
You
This one's
turn
quite
all your
good.
1-drops into Ornithopters.
Yeah.
Best day ever.
It is pretty good.
Wait, so if you have this out and you play Ornithopter, does that mean you
No.
bank mana?
No, you don't.
Oh, I wanted that to be
Can't
out.
go less than 1.
It was in Modern Masters and also Commander 2016.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. This card's sweet, right?
You
Yeah.
slide this
I-
into, like, basically any artifact deck. Like,
Yeah.
it being an artifact creature on its own is good because it counts for, like, Metalcraft or
Yup.
Improvise now
Yeah.
or
Oh, yeah,
Affinity. So
Yeah. So yeah, seems pretty sweet. Here's another artifact. This is the Marble Chalice. 2 and a white for an artifact. Tap it to gain 1 life.
Okay.
See ya.
Nor-
Good God, that card's bad.
Oh, it has the Sphinx Tamarin.
Was this the first set to have colored artifacts?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe
that
it
was
was.
the Esper thing.
Yeah.
Was
But no, please don't play this card ever. It's not good. Next up, another great card.
So many playables.
Elvish Visionary, 1 and a green for a 1/1 Elf Shaman. When it comes into play, draw a card.
Doesn't this get played in Legacy?
Possibly.
I could be entirely wrong
I
on
mean,
this, but
no, I'm pretty sure this is played in a myriad of elf.
this gets played in Hoof and
decks.
Highlander.
Yeah. I mean, this was
I mean,
another.
it's an elf that draws.
I feel like this was another Modern Masters reprint, wasn't it?
probably.
Or maybe it was.
It
and
was
it was in one of the core.
Origins.
It was in one of the core sets for
this
sure.
was? I'm sure this was in Origins.
Paul, what do we got?
It was in. It was indeed in Origins.
Okay.
It was in Commander 2015.
Okay.
It was in Commander 2014.
Okay.
Shards, and it was originally from Magic 2010.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
And then it was also printed in Magic 2013. So it's been around a bit.
Right, because he would play this in the Origins was Origins had Shaman of the Pack, didn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that black green. I always wanted to. That deck was like my favorite Origins
Yeah.
deck. It was never very good, even when it was perfect. It was still not great. But God, that deck was great. I loved
Oh
it
god,
so
yeah,
much.
because you could also play the elf with Menace. It was like a 4/3 that when it entered the battlefield, it destroyed something.
The glint
Winnower.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyways, real good card.
I had 2 of those in one of my
Next up,
sealed pools.
we got a red card, Goblin Mountaineer. It is a 1/1 for 1, and it has Mountain Walk.
Strictly better than Mon's Goblin Raiders.
Goblin of the
Sure.
Pearl Trident.
Yeah.
But not very good.
No, it's not.
It's pretty bad. So moving on. How about the Cloud? Is it Cloud Heath? Yep, Cloud Heath Drake. 4 and a blue for a 3/3 flyer. I'm kind of in already. It's not great. It's not bad though. 1 and a white. It gains vigilance until end of turn. That's kind of sweet. I mean,
Yeah, actually, that.
Seems
I mean,
right.
3/3 for 5 in blue is usually like your common flying beater. I really like vigilance. On this,
the
though.
ability to give this vigilance makes I think it pretty good.
I mean, it's no Sarah Angel at 5.
No, it is turn. Yeah, that's true. It's single blue though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how often you're blocking with a 3 power, 3 toughness creature in that
That's
deck.
fair. Yeah. All right. Next up, we have the Glaze Fiend.
Oh, man.
1 and a black for a 0/1 artifact creature illusion. It also has flying. And whenever another artifact comes into play under your control, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. I mean, in the right artifact.
I kind of wanted to make a deck, I think it was going to be like Mardu artifacts or Mardu like battle bots kind of thing. And I keep looking at this guy and it's just like,
It seems
maybe, almost, maybe.
It seems not bad.
Well, because it's like this guy triggers off of artifact lands.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
like kind of sweet.
and tacking in as a 2/3 flyer seems pretty good, especially on, turn 3 if you can get this out on turn 2. Yeah, I kind of like this guy. I think he's kind of cool.
Oh, by the way, that was the Glintleaf Winnower you guys were
Yes,
talking about
yes,
before.
yes.
Thank you. That card was damn good.
Yeah.
All right, next up is our first land. It is the Esper Panorama.
Oh, this cycle was-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
seems pretty good, actually.
it seems kind of sweet. So tap it to add 1 colorless to your mana pool. Or for 1 and tap, sacrifice it, search your library for a basic plains, island, or swamp card, put it into play tapped, then shuffle your library.
So they did an entire cycle of this for each of the shards. So
Yeah.
they had like
Yeah.
Esper, Jund, Grixis, Bant,
I'm-
and Naya.
Yeah.
I think it's telling that these weren't reprinted in the wedges, the cons wedges.
Oh, yeah.
I think these actually did not work as well as they were hoping
a shame.
for,
Well, I mean,
and
'cause-
didn't provide the fixing they
Well,
were
because
hoping
they
to provide.
what did they, the outposts?
Yeah.
The just
Yeah, just the
straight up,
triple lands?
like the trip lands? Yeah, like
Yeah.
the actual, like, just straight, like, I'd rather those than
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's fair. All right. How about the Obelisk? Okay, so here we go. Obelisk
yeah,
of
more
Naya.
fixing.
So this is a 3-drop artifact that taps for red, green, or white.
They've added a lot of bells and whistles onto these cards now. Now they
Oh,
tap
yeah.
for like any color and they like draw you a card and
Yeah.
exile stuff in graveyards and
But this was fine.
Yeah.
This is a handy little mana rock. I mean,
Yeah, I think you're playing these.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in the set.
absolutely. All right. Next up, we have Gift of the Gargantuan. 2 and a green, a sorcery. It has a lot of text. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Okay. You may reveal a creature card and or a land from among them. Put them into put the revealed cards into your hand and put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order.
so it's like a bad green impulse, but you can get 2 cards off it.
yeah, you
yeah.
can get a creature and a land.
It's okay.
It's, I mean, it's card
I
advantage
mean,
in green.
I guess this is just green divination.
Kind of, yeah. I mean,
With a little bit more selection though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you rip 4, you pick
The
2.
two best
if-
for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there has to be a creature and or land. Like
Yeah.
and or is pretty cool.
Yeah, the and or is kind of sweet. So,
Yeah.
all right, I like it. Next up, we have another artifact or another
Oh, yeah,
land here.
this
so
cycle
this
was
is
so good.
the Seaside Citadel. It comes into play tapped, and it taps for green, white, or blue. So okay, I mean,
Yeah.
It's
I
almost a rainbow land, but
I
it doesn't.
really like the composition of the art on this card.
yeah, the art
like
is
the
real pretty.
This
on this
cycle is
thing.
good. These
props to
actually
Vulcan
see-
Barga.
Yeah, these see
Braga.
intermittent play in Highlander.
Okay.
Like sometimes as a budget thing, other times it's just like a good fixing card.
Right.
You know, if you play like 1 or 2 tap lands and one of them is this one, you're pretty happy about it.
All right.
So yeah, these
Well, I've
were the
also-
ones like the cons had the
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Nomad
outposts,
outposts.
which are so the same thing.
It's the
Yeah.
same deal except with the wedges.
Yeah. So cool. All right. Next up, we have Demon's Herald. For
right.
1 black mana, you get a human wizard. It is a 1/1, and for 2 and a black, and tap it. Sacrifice a blue creature, a black creature, and a red creature. That's a lot.
That's 4 creatures.
search your library for a card named Prince of Thralls and put it into play, then shuffle your library.
So it's not 4 creatures because you can sacrifice itself.
Like,
Paul.
I imagine that...
Where is Prince of Thrall? Because I don't remember what that card does. There he is.
Oh!
4 blue, black, black, red, demon, 7/7. Whenever a permanent an opponent controls is put into a graveyard, put that card into play under your control, unless that opponent pays 3 life.
See, like I like these are there for limited, right?
Yeah.
And anytime I've ever drafted these sets, it's just these heralds going like circling the drain because none of these mythics were opened.
Even then, would you do it? I wouldn't. Like, I don't think this card is that great. It's a 7/7 that has no evasion or trample or anything.
Like, this wouldn't work in a constructed deck.
No.
And in a limited deck, it's like you are dreaming.
Yeah.
All right, next up. I thought this...
I mean, I guess what it is you open the Prince of Thralls, and then you can just take them.
Sure.
Yeah,
right.
but...
I
Yeah.
still
How
don't
often
even,
is that
I
gonna
still don't even think you want to...
Like, do you want to play a
like-
1/1 for 1 black?
I don't think that's a good game plan. I think if your game plan is a 7/7 that doesn't really do... Like, the ability is kind of cool, but...
Like, if it was, instead of like
costs
this
8 mana.
named card, if it was a demon...
Yeah.
Yeah, like any demon.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Well, that's what maybe that's what they were hoping to fix with
The Shadowborn Apostle?
yeah, Shadowborn
Yeah.
Apostles.
Yeah.
Although you needed way too many of them.
Yeah. You didn't need like 6?
Yep.
Yeah, that's obscene. All right, so next up, we have a card that I thought originally said Steve, but it actually says Swerve, which is a little less
It
exciting.
could still be Steve.
Yeah,
That guy's name
this guy's name is Steve. That's fair. That's canonical now. Remember that. Blue-red instant. Change the target of target spell with a single target. Sure does say target there a lot.
Target.
Can I say that one again?
Didn't you,
Change the target of target spell with a single target. Target.
Didn't you hit a Bonfire of the Damned with this once?
No, misdirection.
Oh, okay.
I actually like picked up the card and read it. It's like target player. Misdirection? you wrath yourself? That felt good.
That sounds
yeah.
kind of
Felt
awesome.
good.
Anyways, is this card good? Yeah, not really, right? It's
not a counter spell.
No, and like...
And it's
Stops counter spells.
it's like a counter spell, but
Like,
do you
I
ever
think the
get
number...
into counter wars in limited?
not. I mean, not really. Not in
I
any
mean,
sort
like,
of great.
I guess if your opponent is like, what's your life total? Fireball to the dome?
Yeah.
You're
Like,
like-
you can get them,
Yeah.
but I don't think
That's-
you're ever going to
again-
get them with this.
The best
right?
part about this card is Steve.
Yeah,
All right, we ready for the rare?
absolutely. Born ready.
What is it? Oh,
Clarion.
Oh, wrong ultimatum.
wrong ultimate.
Green, white, blue. Sorcery. Choose 5 permanents you control. For each of those permanents, you may search your library for a card with the same name as that permanent. Put those cards into play tapped, then shuffle your library.
That's
Terrible.
Yeah.
Like, they did a bunch of... I think there's 2 of the from this cycle that are good. Like, I think, like, the...
Cruel Ultimatum
Cruel
is obviously,
Ultimatum's
like,
really,
yeah,
really,
a backbreaker.
really
Yeah.
strong. And I want to say the Jund one. I don't remember what it's called. Mm-hmm. But it was okay.
Right.
And I think the rest are just
Yeah, there's
bad.
Cruel
Like,
Ultimatum
Cruel
right there.
Ultimatum is nuts.
I want to build a Highlander deck, like a Grixis control deck with Cruel Ultimatum as one of the finishers. Only the problem is that deck wants to play like Time Walk and Ancestral, and I don't have like
Maybe
$4,000 sitting
doesn't.
around.
Like, you can. I don't think that the Grease's version played Time Walk or Ancestral.
The Grease is one of the affectionate nickname for a local Highlander player who has this gorgeous foiled out
I haven't
Grixis
seen him
control
around
deck.
for a while,
Yeah,
but it's like really pretty.
yeah.
Yeah, it's.
All right, well,
Like this card is literally win more. Like it could
Yeah.
be just called like it's if you
7
win,
mana.
get more of what you're already
not
doing.
A lot.
Yeah, like
Assuming your deck is set up properly, the best case scenario is you get more of what you're already doing.
yeah, and if you're not doing terribly well,
Then it does.
Yeah.
Stone nothing.
so straight
Yeah.
up, I think
and if you don't have any copies of whatever
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
you're...
I'm first picking Elvish Visionary.
Really?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
what are
guess
you
so.
going to first pick?
Planes.
Like-
Oh.
I think
Ooh,
maybe
it's a
Ethereum
nice
Sculptor.
plane.
Get a nice, yeah, we got, that is my favorite planes. I have
the Esper planes.
I have a bunch of those actually at home.
Oh,
So do I.
man, Chippy did such good work with the Esper basics
Like,
in this set.
what else do you first pick?
Maybe Ethereum Sculptor?
Yeah, like I feel like it's between Elvish Visionary and Ethereum Sculptor. Like, I'm not taking the Mountaineer. I don't think I want to take the
I
Drake.
mean, maybe
or the-
Glaze Fiend.
I mean, it's a little
the
bit. I mean,
Panorama or the Citadel, maybe.
I feel like but first picking the Citadel feels kind of like,
Taper.
I don't know. I feel like I'm just gonna first pick the Elf. I don't know. That's just me. I feel like I get
Seems
it
alright.
draws a card, man. It's a 2-for-1. It's right there.
It's a woofer.
All right. So
Open the mailbag.
meat of the episode, mailbag. If you are not following LRRMTG on Twitter, I would advise you to do so. That's where I go and ask you guys for questions. So if you are not doing it, you should do so, because we probably will do another one of these in a couple months once we've, accumulated enough more interest for these things. So again, the idea here is to try to get through every question. So let's try to do this for these people. So first question from Isaac says, "What is a tribe you'd wish to see return and/or a tribe you'd like to see created?"
Okay, return zombies, because I just want my zombie.
Yeah, you really want your
Yeah.
zombie Highlander
Give me
deck?
more. Give
Yeah.
me 1-drops.
Yeah, more. So more.
Give them to me.
So more zombies. I would love. I don't know. Like, I mean, I kind of want to see snakes make a real good comeback. I do love my snakes, and I would love to continue to.
What about like a creature type that we've never had?
Yeah, so that's the second part. Would you have any returning though?
I love my Merfolk. They were my first deck
Okay.
when I was a little kid playing Magic. I loved Merfolk. I think like this blue like tempo strategy is really fun and limited,
Yep.
and I'm mainly a limited player now. And I would love to see more Merfolk, mainly because there isn't the critical density to play them in Highlander.
That's fair.
I think we're close.
Like it's close. I know Kata has tried.
Has she?
She's tried and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Like you get your ass stomped
That sucks.
I wanna see-
Well, it's been a while.
because
though.
they're so lord dependent.
Yeah.
I want to see it in a position where you can play a Merfolk deck that has Merfolk in it.
Yeah,
That's not called like you mean how there's-
vestigial fish.
Yeah, there's legacy decks called fish that have no merfolk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So what are
Like
some,
I would love to see a Merfolk tribal strategy that isn't solely based on its lords,
That's fair.
right? That wasn't just like Lord of Atlantis, Mutavault, swing.
yeah.
All right. So what about tribes that have never existed?
That's hard because
It
there's
is
so
hard.
many. Like they've got Ufe as a creature type. So like, what's left for them to look at?
Well, like tribal decks are synergistic. I would really like to see I would love to see Wizard Tribal that was actually synergistic.
Yeah, like there's,
That-
there's a lot of wizard cards, but
They don't do
not
anything with
many of
each
them.
other.
There's
Like there's
tiny
a
handful.
zombie, right?
There's like, not Tolarian. There's Riptide Laboratory.
Right.
That's a land that like bounce a wizard.
I would love to see like
And there's
some.
wizard cycling.
Yeah.
yeah.
I would love to see something where you
Bring
like
back wizard cycling.
something that kind of evoked like circle magic, where you would tap like a bunch of wizards to get an effect. Right? Like they were all like working on like some kind of ritual.
That would be sweet. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like the idea of wizards working
that seems
together
like-
to cast
That would be pretty
cool
cool.
spells or.
Yeah,
It's
but
like-
that seems
trigger
kind of like
abilities.
non-interactive and probably not what R&D wants to do with
Yeah.
limited.
I mean, that's just sort of, the artifact affinity stuff.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
But for wizards.
All right.
I want, so we can have cat and also monkey and then cat monkey.
Yeah, I mean we do
As-
have one good cat monkey right now.
So that you can have you have cat and monkey tribal, and then the lord is a cat monkey.
Nice.
Yeah, ooh.
I do like our cat monkey right now. All right, this is actually I think this is a really good question. Tyler says, "What's the best way? I mean, not the best way. What way do you deal with tilt when playing IRL? Like, how do you?
Okay, that's a tricky question because like, how do I deal with like myself tilting or my opponent?
I think you're
tilting?
self tilting. I mean, we could answer both, right?
It's time to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's time
right.
to walk. It's time to walk
Yeah,
away.
Yeah, just take
that's
a break.
I think that's just the easiest thing is that if you find I think that I mean that goes for almost anything in life, right? Like if you're just at a point of frustration that you're angry
And you're not enjoying.
and you're not
yourself
having
playing
fun
the game,
anymore,
stop.
just walk away, right?
Yeah, like, it doesn't even have to be for very long. Just
No.
like take a walk.
yeah,
Right? Like that the advice that the coach gives.
yeah,
Right? Take a walk.
Is on the game.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that goes at even any like at any
It
level.
honestly really helps.
just get out of the store, get out of your house, just go for a walk.
Yeah, it's
cool
like,
off.
It sucks if you end up tilting really hard at a like tournament that you've paid for, but it's just like it's actually just not worth it.
No. And at the same time, I think it's okay to tilt.
Yeah, it happens.
I think it's okay to get frustrated. If it happens a
baddest of
lot,
beats.
I think if it happens a lot, probably you need to do some thinking.
Yeah.
But if it's a once in a blue moon kind of thing, yeah, just take a break.
Yeah,
What- so-
I really like Surge's strategy of O2 milkshake.
Yeah. It's just like if you get your ass handed to you, it's like I'll go do something that I have no chance of losing at.
Yeah.
exactly.
Like a milkshake.
So what
Yeah.
about when your opponent is on tilt? That's harder.
That's just the
That's
one where you're
harder,
like
like-
trying to like. When my opponent is on tilt, I try to play quickly, efficiently, and with minimal drawing of attention to the game.
Yeah.
Basically, like
Which is
you don't want to do the thing where it's like, well, what you're trying to do is like, without actually saying it, it's like, I'm going to try to end this quickly in
Yeah,
one way or
and-
another without insulting you or making
Without
you
making
feel
it
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
although that begs the question is like at what level of tilt is it appropriate to call a judge?
Well, I think if
start
you're
getting-
feeling like,
yeah, I think if you get into the realm of abuse, right? Like if you are feeling unsafe or just uncomfortable, and your opponent is saying, I mean, if your opponent is saying shit that they shouldn't be saying, then it's time to call a judge.
yeah.
I don't think I've ever had that situation.
I-
where, like
yeah.
people get salty.
Yeah.
That's uncomfortable.
Like I would say that there's the two different things, right? There's the tilt where you're just really unhappy with how the game is going, and
Yeah.
it's actually mostly a self-directed anger.
Yeah.
Like it's just like my deck isn't working, I'm not
like
drawing.
I misplayed so
I hate the
hard.
RNG.
Yeah.
Your deck is doing really well or whatever, right? But there's not like
There's no-
animosity
yeah.
towards the other player. It's just
Yeah.
I'm having a bad time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The animosity when the animosity starts getting turned against you specifically,
I think
Yeah.
that's
that starts becoming a different thing.
that's a whole, but it's still, but both are still really tricky to deal with.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like even if your opponent is just fed up with the game and their deck and maybe what you're doing with your deck, but not actually like directly calling you out.
Yeah.
It's hard to, that's a hard situation to be in. It's obviously easier when it's a friend. It's generally it's a lot easier to sort of break that ice, break that tension, I can find. But at the same time, you also need to, be respectful of them and
I
not
imagine
just,
that sort of thing would be like really egregious in like a pre-release or something where you're like in for a lot of games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like I have to get through this. Like
Yeah.
I can't just drop because I've spent like $30 to get into this pool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to play some Magic, but
Yep.
this guy's having a bad day. So yeah, I mean.
I think carefully and with respect.
Yeah.
is the goal
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Don't
Exactly.
ever tell an angry person to calm down.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that too.
That's the,
Never do that.
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's the one thing that I've had jobs where I've had interactions with the public, and they always tell you the only way that you are guaranteed to escalate a situation is by telling a person to calm down.
Yep. Yeah. Don't. I would say,
That is the way that you guarantee that
I would say yeah.
that
Like,
there will
obviously,
be.
they need to.
Yeah.
But
They
telling
know
them
what-
explicitly
They know it.
has the
Like,
opposite.
Your opponent, when they're on tilt, they know they're on tilt. They're probably just as annoyed with the fact that they're on tilt that you are and uncomfortable with it. It's involuntary. So don't say just calm down. Don't ever say it's just a game.
Yeah.
Right? Like they know these things. These things are these thoughts are going through their mind as well. It's just
Yeah.
hard. You've probably been there as well. So just give them the space and get through it as best you can. All right, this one definitely comes up a lot, so I'll probably skip any other one after this. But Navikem was the first person to ask predictions/hopes for Amonkhet.
Mommy tribal.
Mommy Tribal.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, we could see some zombies too, right? Probably.
Please make mummies have the zombie subtype.
Oh,
That would make me
yeah.
so happy. You have no idea.
I don't think they would, though, right?
Well, I don't know. They might.
Yeah.
They might.
I mean, I want something called a Zeret.
Okay.
I want a
Zeret bird?
Yeah, I want a
On the wind.
yeah. I want a 2/1 for 1 and a blue that can't block things without flying. Just called a Zeret.
Nice. That's good.
So there's the one mummy, right?
Which
Cyclopean
is
mummy.
And does it have the subtype mummy?
It It has now been oracled to zombie.
Oh, that could happen then.
So it was a summon mummy. It is now a creature type zombie.
Come on.
Okay, so
one
I
time.
mean it's set, right? Like
Oh,
that's.
please.
It's not good.
I mean,
but-
I'm hoping that they're mummy zombies or zombie mummies, because I would hate to see a mummy called a zombie.
Well, maybe they just don't actually call them mummies.
That's true.
But they're wearing bandages and shit.
Sure.
I like the actual text on the card is just if mummy is placed in the graveyard for play, remove it from the game. It's
Mummy?
not Cyclopean mummy.
Yeah.
Mummy, where'd you go?
If your mommy dies,
Here's a prediction.
Legends.
A cycle of like 5 canopic jars, like
Oh.
artifacts.
Ooh,
that
yeah.
If you get all 5 of them, it does something amazing.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Cool.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
up to it. And also like desert reprint,
I mean, that would make sense.
desert and camel reprint.
chariot, like a chariot vehicle.
Yeah. Ooh, what about Ankh of Mishra? Oh no, they can't. I guess Ankh of Mishra would be out of place.
Yeah.
It also doesn't really.
I
Make
mean,
sense.
like, also they've done a fairly good job of not just making it like Kaladesh wasn't just like all the things about India.
Yeah.
Right? And Theros wasn't just like they all eat souvlaki. Right? Like they had their own character.
Yeah.
And they were influenced by that. So I mean, who knows what we'll see,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, from Tolarian Community, some dude named the Professor. I don't know. Which existing legendary creature do you want to see a complete redo of so that they are more viable as a commander? Can you think of any legendary creatures that you would like to see revamped?
Ramirez Di
I
Pietro.
knew that's what you were going to say.
Oh. Okay.
That's your Pauper,
Yep. Pauper commander.
and it's blue-black.
Yep, blue-black. He
Wait,
is...
Isn't there only one Grixis commander?
There is only one Grixis tiny leader.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Umazawa,
Toshiro Mizawa.
yeah, Toshiro Umazawa.
So what's your commander? It's a
He is a 4/3 with first strike for
six.
6.
It's like 4 blue-black, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
What's his
it's
name?
Ramirez Di Pietro. He is 2 colorless, 2 blue, and 2 black.
Oh, what?
Oh.
Double blue, double black for a 4/6 with first strike?
4/3 with first strike.
Oh my god, that's so bad.
But you get
No.
you get Bone Splitter onto him, and Ramirez lops heads.
Oh, that's really terrible. That's a
yeah.
really
Oh,
good,
he sucks. I've
that's
never
a-
cast him.
That's a very good choice, though. I like that.
Yeah,
Well-
I'd still want him at common.
Here's a simple one. What about like the entire cycle of the Elder Dragons?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like redo them with non-shitty abilities.
Yeah.
That could be really sweet. Then you could be like, oh my god, I can play Vivictus as Madi.
Yeah, yeah. Like remember on Jared's birthday a few years ago when
There
we
she is.
he
Oh,
Oh, no,
Yeah.
it's a 3 black, black, blue.
3 black, right?
Yeah.
See, I've never actually cast him.
Right. Okay, that's not much better. Still bad.
Yeah, I mean, like his lore is actually pretty cool.
Okay.
Because in the lore, this is not Ramirez Di Pietro. This is a changeling who has assumed Ramirez's legendary.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
He's a human pirate now, by the way.
neat.
Oracle.
Sweet.
yeah,
I mean-
relevant.
Legendary creature, I assume still?
And like Phil Foley actually did really good
Yeah.
art for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art's kind of good. I like the
Yeah.
art.
I am a pyrist.
Yeah.
Of course. I'm all about
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stang.
Stang.
Yeah.
Stang's
Stang
great.
and Stang twin.
Yeah. Redoing Stang would be sweet. I'd love to see some.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
all you gotta do is like maybe give him a keyword ability and chop his mana cost down, and this guy's sweet.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on. David says, what archetype have you been forced in a relatively recent draft that actually kind of worked? Cam.
Boros Smash Face.
Okay.
It is never my go-to, but in Kaladesh, the gremlin that gets +2/+0 and trample when another artifact enters play, and then just all the flicker effects in white, made it into a really enjoyable archetype with a lot of like interesting plays and weird lines, and made use of cards that were not great
Okay.
to do kind of critical things, and it was actually a lot of fun.
Sweet.
And it was an aggro deck that I liked.
I recently forced myself into drafting. I wasn't forced into it. I did it to myself. Just 5-color good stuff in Aether Revolt. Yeah, it did not go well.
Oh.
It was pretty bad. I honestly took. I don't know. I was watching somebody else stream and I was doing some work and I was like, I kind of feel like drafting. So I did a draft. And I was just like, let's do a stupid draft. And I took what I believed personally to be the best card in every pack, regardless of color or mana cost or rarity or anything. I was just like, give me the best card, give me the best card. And it was good. Don't do that. Don't do like I do, kids.
Out of curiosity,
Donnie
was
don't
that
does.
in a standard league or just a draft?
It was in
Or a draft league.
It was in a draft league. It was in the friendly draft league.
Yeah, because if you do that in an 8-person pool or an 8-person pod where you are only playing in an 8-person pod, at least you know that you have ruined signaling and everyone else's deck is trash.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
Yep.
But yeah, in a league, you've just made sure 7 other people also can't win any games.
Yep. I agree.
The ultimate.
All right. So next up is Jason. Jason asks, do you play Pauper? And if so, what is your favorite deck?
I've not played Pauper. I've been thinking about it though.
James and I have both tried.
Yeah,
right?
I've messed around with Pauper a little bit on
Midgo.
Mitgo. I also have a paper Pauper deck. I haven't ever really played with it, but I have it. It's the Kuldotha Rebirth deck.
Right.
Baby.
Yeah, I really like that deck. It's basically just, it's the Kuldotha, it's the sacrifice, what is it? Sacrifice,
An artifact.
make 3 goblins. Yeah, it is just one artifact, right? Yeah. Love that card to death. I love the idea of just sacrificing 1 card to get 3 creatures. I think it's just so much fun. And then you're playing like Trumpet Blast and Lightning Bolt and just artifacts that draw you cards like Ichor Wellspring. And I love it. It's so good. It's a great deck. I have no idea in terms of like the meta how that is anymore. I haven't paid attention to Pauper in many, many months, so I don't know if this is still a deck that's played or if it's a good deck or what, but I love it. It's one of my favorite constructed decks.
The deck that I liked playing around with was Familiars,
Oh, yeah.
which I think was just the meta choice. It was a really strong deck, but it did the thing where you played like 40 cards in a turn and then you milled out your opponent with, what was the blue denizen from Return to Ravnica?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
But it played a bunch of like cards that discounted the cost of things, and it was a lot like playing High Tide in Legacy, right?
That's sweet.
Because you would untap all your stuff. It was the reason why Cloud of Fairies got banned, and then the reason why Sage's Road Denizen.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no Storm deck in Pauper anymore, is there?
No.
Nothing called Storm.
Well, because
This was
they banned a lot
Storm-like.
of the-
Yeah,
I think
'cause
they just banned the payloads.
Yeah, they banned the payloads because it was way too oppressive.
Yeah.
For what I
well,
understand.
I mean, it's just like, oh, we get all the cheap cantrips and rituals and grape shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like,
There's
like-
no reason to not play this.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, Storm was already basically a Pauper deck.
Yeah.
all right. Next up, this is a big question, so let's try to keep this one a little shorter here. Kaylee asks, if you could change anything in Mitgo, rules, release cycle, card design, lore, etc., what would you do? That's a big question.
In Mitgo?
No, just in Magic, in MTG.
Remove the variance of lands and spells. That is the
Yeah.
worst part of this game. It is
Absolutely.
absolutely awful.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
There's nothing you can do about it.
right.
Just make some means by which you can consistently draw lands or spells.
Yeah.
Not specific ones, but just never get mana screwed and never get mana flooded. That's it. I think this game would be incredible if you could avoid that.
Yes,
But
absolutely agreed.
It's so frustrating.
So I mean, like go like the Hearthstone way, or a lot of the ways that a
Or
lot
even
of
just
modern
like,
systems are going, where you just get one, essentially mana per turn.
I don't know, like the game would maybe have to be redesigned from the ground up, but it's just like if I could choose, like, I will get a land or a spell when I draw. But, you know, it would mess the game up to do it
Yeah.
like that. But that would be so nice. Just like let me make my land drops.
Right. Yep. That's fair. What if you? I've always wondered about what if you had like a pile of your spells and a pile of your lands, and you could choose which
That
one
would
to
be
draw
cool.
from.
I think on paper that would be really cool, and I think in practice it would lead to like really broken decks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's just one of those annoyances that there's not a lot anybody can do
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
about.
I think it would like take an enormous redesign
Yeah,
of the game to do it.
It would be a
But like it
complete
would be,
upheaval of the game.
Yeah.
it would be
but-
so. It would just be nice not to lose because you draw 4 lands in a row.
Yeah, or
Right.
not lose because you draw no lands whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even though you're playing like
Well, like
a bunch.
you watched like a few years ago Ifro at the Pro Tour
Yeah.
mulling to 3 in Game 5 of the finals.
Yep. And it's just like, okay, that's
Yep.
how this game ends. And that just
That sucks.
And especially in that circumstance, that just looks. Not only does that suck for him, it sucks for everybody watching at home, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just like, oh my god, we get to go to Game 5 at Pro Tour, like one of the highest levels of competition that this game has to offer, and a mull to 3 and you lose. And
yeah,
it's just
like the RNG just
it just kills you.
poops on you.
Yep.
Like
That
it's,
sucks.
It's just awful.
Yep.
So that's what I would change.
All right. I feel like that's a good one we can all agree on. So let's go next. Charlie says, what? This is a weird question. Which masterpiece would you want to go out on a date with?
I
I choose Wormcoil Engine.
ornithopter for the scenery.
And Cameron
Wait, can you ride an ornithopter?
will say yes.
Okay.
You know, I think Torrential Gearhulk is probably both caring and giving.
It gives a lot of water.
It's a little damp.
Yeah. Whoa.
I see
Okay.
what you're into.
Moving on. All right. Tara asks,
Just to drink from the gear hog.
gross. Tara asks, where do you rate Kaladesh Aether Revolt? I'm assuming they mean like overall in terms of like up against other sets.
Yeah.
Man.
I've been a big fan of it. I think I've liked it. I like it more than Zendikar block before it returned to Zendikar or Battle for Zendikar.
Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoy it more than that. What was before that?
The Return to Innistrad, or
Yeah.
No, Shadows over
Innistrad.
Innistrad was between Battle for Zendikar
Yeah,
and
sorry, yeah,
Kaladesh.
So-
and before Battle for Zendikar was Origins,
Yeah. What was before that though?
Dragons of Tarkir.
Yeah. So I did really like Cons. I think this is the set I liked as much as Cons I liked. Like I wasn't a big fan of Battle for Zendikar. I enjoyed the Return to Innistrad. I thought it was good, but I wasn't like 100% over the moon on it. Yeah, I know, right?
But Emrakul was.
But Kaladesh has been, I think, a lot of fun. I really like the Aether Revolt drafting. I really like this particular limited format that we're in right now. I think it's really good.
Yes,
and I've
I
been
agree.
enjoying it. I think it's the best it's been in a while. So
I really like the recent design decisions to that a lot of the moving pieces for draft decks are going to be at common, and that at uncommon, especially the gold cards, will be like the signature pieces of the deck, and rare are just like, you know, bombs or weird things for constructed, or you know, they're there, but you can actually pull together like a really strong synergistic fun draft deck
Yep.
out of like your commons and uncommons.
Yep.
That being said, Kaladesh Aether Revolt, I'm not sure I like it as much as Kaladesh, but it has some really cool cards in it that I enjoy a lot.
That's fair. Alex, have you enjoyed it in terms of its offerings to?
I haven't gotten to play with many of the cards, but they look really cool.
All right.
Like there's a lot that are super sweet, and I've had my back broken by stuff like Yehini's expertise. Yeah, the set's good. There's a lot of Highlander playables in it, like
That's
a
cool.
lot. So that's always, you know, a plus.
Yeah. Yeheni's expertise seems like it would go right into like that Grixis control deck that just plays 2-for-1s.
I think that would be pretty good. You know, just get something in there. I've heard that Kari Zev's expertise is pretty good too.
Yeah, I've heard like
try
it was much maligned when it was spoiled, and then
Like, it's like, oh wait, threaten with a free 2-drop? Oh, that is good.
yeah,
All right. Next up, Zach asks, "What is your favorite enchantment?" Oblivion Ring.
Mind meld.
So, Goblin Bombardment.
Oh yeah, Goblin Bombardment. That's good.
Mind meld.
All right, that was an
Or
easy
no,
one.
no. What was it? Mind meld. It was a 5-mana enchantment from Ravnica, City of Guilds.
Okay.
I want to say, with a guy going like, and every time you played a spell, you discarded your hand
Mind
and
Moil?
Mind Moil.
There we go.
Yeah.
And drew that many cards.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's
Can we also
bad.
just like throw Rancor in here as well?
Yo,
Yeah.
Rancor's real good.
Yeah.
There he is.
There you go.
I love this card.
I'm having a bad day.
This reminds me of Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Next up, this is a little bit more of a serious question. Omega asks, "Do you find the constant cycling of the main game prohibitive to players, and it is very much pay to play as old sets are no longer valid?"
It depends on what format you're playing. Like that's
Yeah.
It is. It is incredibly format dependent.
Well, that's the thing is that like there's so many ways to play this game that like old cards are never invalid. Like if you're talking about standard, then obviously, you have to keep current, and that can suck. But there's so many ways to play Magic.
I feel like this game offers you, as Alex said, offers you so many different ways to enjoy it that if standard is proving to be too costly for you, then you should look for other formats.
Like one of the big
And if that's hard in your play group or your area, then that sucks. And but I don't think it's the game's fault.
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, Wizards of the Coast is a company, and their bottom line is the bottom line. They need to make money. So I don't think. I mean, it makes sense that they want to keep making cards and cycling them out and encouraging you to go out and buy new stuff.
Well, like
so.
one of the reasons that Eternal formats have the popularity that they do is that the cards never rotate.
Yeah.
Like you get a deck and then you can pretty reliably play it forever.
Yeah.
Until your deck gets randomly banned. And that's
Yeah.
that's bad beats, but
I miss you, Modern Storm. I miss you so much.
Wait, wasn't Kenji was playing Modern Storm the other day?
I want to see.
He was kicking ass, taking
Wait,
names.
really?
Yeah.
Which deck?
I don't know. I just know he was playing Modern Storm the other day.
How many
that's
more
so
times
exciting.
do you think Lotleth Troll is going to jump in and out of jail?
Or Grave Troll?
Grave Troll, you mean?
Sorry, good,
Yeah.
yeah.
For
Yeah.
Just like, I'm bad, I'm legal, I'm bad, I'm legal, I'm bad, I'm legal.
Yeah. Oh, they finally killed it, though, with Gitaxian Probe. At least the version I was playing, the Pyromancer Ascension version of Storm.
All right.
But if Kenji's playing a deck, that's
I think
quite
so.
exciting.
You should check it out.
Yeah.
Consider try other formats.
Yeah.
You might
Like
enjoy this.
Frontier.
Yeah,
Is
Frontier
I
is
it-
a
wonder
new-
if that's going to be a thing.
I mean,
It might be.
It's definitely staying. It definitely feels like it has a lot more staying power than a lot of the other sort of big crazes that have come and gone over the
Well,
last
and,
couple of
hopefully it
years.
doesn't
But
end up, caving in like Tiny Leaders did.
yeah, I think it's nowhere near as solvable as Tiny Leaders was. I think there's a lot more to do there. I mean, if it's
So it's basically just like modern with less broken cards.
yeah, I mean, it's from. Is it from Origins? It's from the new card frame, right? They did the exact same.
Yeah, it's. I know it. I think it's from Cons.
I thought Origins was the first time they did the new card frames, though. Or was Origins
have to
after
check
Cons?
it out.
I don't remember. Whenever
right,
they
yeah,
started
yeah.
the new card frame
Yeah, with the tapered
with the
black
tapered
border.
black border, that's where Frontier starts. And Frontier is a format that's gaining traction at local game stores. I know GPs are offering side events for them, and they've been doing that within the last few weeks. And I know that we're going to GP Vancouver next weekend. I believe there are Frontier queues firing there, so it's definitely getting there. What's
It's
that?
M15 on
M15,
Okay, yeah,
right? Yeah. So it's even
And
earlier
yeah, it
than
is
that.
M15
Was the new card frame.
was the new card frame. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Next up is Jax asks, have you ever ran across not having a card or cards you want to put into a constructed deck? If so, how did you work around it?
I mean, well, that. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has.
You can borrow cards from friends.
Yep.
Usually that's like at least in Victoria, the local community is pretty good about loaning cards to people when they need to put a deck together. Otherwise, I mean, you just kind of have to save and trade and
Save, trade.
I don't build the deck until I have everything. I really hate borrowing cards unless it's power, because it's I'm never going to own this card anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I'm very, very particular about when I build decks. It's I have to have all the singles that are supposed to be in the deck with no substitutions.
Yeah, that reminds me. Because for my current Highlander deck, I've got 100 cards together, but they aren't the 100 cards I want to be playing, and I need to get things for some reason I don't have a Bloodghast.
Oh,
which I just
$30 now.
well, yeah, I need to pick one up. I also need to pick up a Lightning Helix.
That's not so bad.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're 5.
All right.
Like 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah.
It's a good card.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zappo.
Yeah, and like a chain lightning. But like, yeah, you in Highlander there are a wealth of cards, and there are some substitutes that can be made that aren't as good but work.
Yeah, I mean that's the other option is you can always find cards to fill those roles.
Depending on the deck, like you can substitute some things, but there's other things. It's like
There's no substitute for like Vendelian Clique. There's no substitute for Bob.
There's no
substitute for
Tarma
Goyf.
and Goyf. Yeah,
There just
like,
isn't.
it's just that's the card. You need the card and it sucks. So save your pennies, trade.
Like I mean, if you're playing something different, something instead of it, it's something else.
All right.
Which is fine, but yeah.
All right, next up. Cameron asks, do you think Wizards Magic, which is WotC, should support Highlander?
It would be cool, I
would be
guess.
cool.
I mean, they don't know they're supporting it, but they do.
Yeah,
right?
I
Like
mean,
they print new cards
They're
for us.
talking
They
about it. I mean, I
reprint
guess
cards.
that depends on like what form support would make, because
Yeah,
they don't have like a lot of support for like eternal formats.
Yeah.
And this is like it's vintage,
Yeah, it is. It is.
and their support for vintage is not.
So
enormous.
here's my my thought process as to why I don't think Wizards will ever formally support Highlander is that they already support a singleton 100 card format.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be too weird for them.
It just
to,
doesn't make any sense.
Trying to explain that Highlander and Commander are actually quite different.
That would be such
Yeah.
a pain.
even though the card pool is very similar.
There's
Yeah,
also-
well, like I mean, a lot of people still approach us and are like, you know, when we tell people what Highlander is, they're like, yeah, well, I've got Commander already, and it's like they are actually like very different.
Yeah, they're real.
Right,
different. And
like-
the thing is, like, they make money off Commander because they can print, all
Commander
these like,
sets. Yeah.
sets and new cards and stuff. And that, I think, the support we get is the sort of trickle down of like weird singles they print for Commander.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
it's
like-
fine. It will. I don't think it will ever happen.
Once
I
a
think
year,
I
you
agree
get
with you.
an Atraxa, or
Yep.
like, yeah,
There's like shardless agent stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that ended up in like Legacy as well. So
yeah, true name.
All right, next up. Windmill Slam. Hey guys, Windmill Slam guys. What's your favorite piece of MTG trivia?
oh man.
So there's this really persistent myth that on the back of the card, that mark on the deck master is a pen mark.
That's not.
Yeah.
It's
true?
not. No.
What?
No,
It's
that's not
blue
true.
marbling.
Yeah, it's that's supposed to be there. That was designed. That was a design choice. It is not a pen. It's not an accidental pen mark.
Aw.
I think Morrow actually finally, like within the last year or two, put that one to bed, and he's just like, no, that's not what it is. It's not a pen mark. That's what it's supposed to look like. It's a little weird. Also, I guess the other fun little piece of trivia is the actual Deckmaster logo, right?
Oh, that
There
they
are
can't get rid
probably
of?
A, they can't get rid of it, but B, there's probably a whole bunch of people nowadays who just have no idea why it says Deckmaster on the back, right? Like, have you ever wondered that? It's because Deckmaster was sort of supposed to be the umbrella of a bunch of different card games designed by Wizards of the Coast. Years ago, there were other Deckmaster games that was sort of their card brand or their card game brands.
Yeah, like there was a briefly named Vampire the Masquerade themed CCG called Jihad.
Yeah. Awkward.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jihad was the name of the constant war, the shadow war being waged by the vampires against one another.
It's true. All right. Do you guys have any other pieces of trivia?
Nothing's jumping out at me.
Yeah, I can't
I'm
think
sure
of
I'll
anything
remember
right
something
now.
later.
Okay. Well, we can come back.
My favorite one is look at me, I'm the DCI
Yeah.
card. This is, as far as I know, I believe this is the only card that, for one thing, it's the only card that Mark Rosewater drew.
Yeah.
So he actually has an artist credit, and I believe it's the only card that was designed and drawn by the same person.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And
actually.
also, I believe it caused a problem at Wizards because they realized afterwards that they actually had for legal reasons they had to pay him for it, and so they I think he was got a check for $1.
Yeah.
But then he didn't cash it for a really long time because it was just in
Yeah.
drawer somewhere until like the accounting department was like, dude, you have to cash that check. It's really messing up our books.
That's awesome. All right, moving on. Cyrulean asked, what would you change having unlimited resources at your disposal to make Magic more fun to watch? That's a tricky one.
Coverage?
Yeah, I
They
guess.
do a pretty good job.
Magic, okay.
I mean, like, I think, like, card recognizers that could read cards from people's hands
Yeah.
would probably be quite helpful and smooth out some of the coverage, because then you wouldn't have to have the spotters, and then there would be the delay on what people drew.
Yep.
I'm not sure how you solve this with money, right? Like, you would
Well, I
have...
mean, it would be resources in the form of technology, what have you. I mean, it's like, I guess, yeah.
Like, there's this tremendous difficulty, because when people go on commentary, they have to stop playing. And when you stop playing, you no longer have the immediate, like, fluency with what the meta is, right? So you
Okay.
have people who are doing commentary who aren't as, like, familiar with the decks being played as is possible, because they can't play them because they're doing
I
commentary.
have a terrible idea.
Okay.
All players have to use RFID sleeves
Huh.
keyed to the card that are inside them.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that's,
yeah.
So then, like, you have, like, data on every card in every zone at all times.
Ooh, yeah.
And then you can, like...
That's not a terrible idea.
I mean, it is an unlimited
Yeah, that is-
resources
yeah.
thing, because, like, that would be tricky and, would
It's-
probably be a
yeah.
technical nightmare, but if
Yeah.
it worked, it would be so cool.
I mean, obviously, this is something that I've thought about a lot. I mean, the combination and totally possible with current technology. It's just a matter of
yeah.
the will and the time and stuff. But yeah, RFID sleeves or some sort of equivalent.
Yeah, or just, like, if the
And
cards
then
are chipped or
combined
something.
with a stream client that is receiving that data, so that a person watching can just like mouse over any card on the
Ooh,
field,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it'll
yeah.
pop up and tell them what it is,
Like, do you think
and
it
then
would-
including and also like the two players' hands.
Exciting.
Yeah, that'd
I
be-
mean that would be like basic. It's any farther than that, like it's a funny thing, right? Any farther than that, and you might as well just be watching
Mitgo.
Mitgo. Like, I mean,
Right.
that would be the
Yes.
other thing, is that you have a synchronized Mitgo game.
or
Right.
something,
You can just watch.
something like displayed in a digital form, right?
Yeah, but effectively a synchronized Mitgo game.
Yeah.
That's all digital.
I mean, I think when it comes to Magic coverage, information is key, right? The more information that the broadcasters and the commentators have, and the more information that the viewers have, the better the experience is going to be. If you know every single card that's being played, every single card's in the board, every single card that is in the player's hand, you are going to have a more enjoyable time watching the coverage, I think. It is why that it's a reason why we are so big with the card recognizer here whenever we do our streams or pre-releases, is because we want you to know as much information as possible. If we could give you more information, i.e., RFID chips in all of our sleeves, we would do that in a heartbeat. It's but that is a very large investment of money. It's something that I would love to see them do. I think the biggest problem Magic coverage has is the discrepancy between coverage of a Pro Tour event and coverage of a GP event. I think the biggest issue that they have is that there is not enough money for them to spend on creating them equal, right?
Right.
Pro Tour coverage is not as good as GP coverage. Pro Tour coverage has literal dozens of people on the ground making that coverage team happen. They bring in independent, they basically hire independent contractors to run cameras, to run sound, to run the switching, to direct, to do all that stuff. And then they have their entire coverage team there, and they have their writing team there. And it's dozens of people, but when they go to a GP, now it's literally like 3 guys.
Yeah.
Right? It's the 2 commentators or 3 commentators and Rashad with his bag of camera equipment, which is fine. It's great. Like, it works, but it's so different and it's so not as good.
Are you saying like rather than improving the Pro Tour,
think-
you would rather them try to bring the GPs up to the level of the Pro Tour?
I think if it was
or more up to that.
I think if my options were level out the playing field in terms of quality coverage between every event or making the Pro Tour even more enjoyable to watch, I would rather bring up every GP to Pro Tour level than increase the Pro Tour coverage by even 1,000% because it only happens 4 times a year.
Right.
Whereas GPs happen almost every weekend, right?
Right.
Like, I don't think there's anybody who would rather. I would be interested to hear somebody's reasoning for rather increasing the Pro Tour coverage by a significant portion than giving as best a coverage for all events throughout the year. That's what I would do. If I had unlimited money to a degree, right, like unlimited funds to a point, I would say, okay, every GP and every Pro Tour, World Magic Cup Players Championship, they're all the same. They all look exactly the same.
The monkey's paw has heard your wish to
to
even out coverage.
Yeah.
It is now all GP level.
Yeah.
No.
Oh no. God, that'd be bad. All right. What do we got here? Tim, have you been following the story articles? And if so, what do you think? No.
I was, and then I fell off the wagon.
Yeah. I'm bad at it. I if I could have, like, I think they're going to start doing a podcast, a Magic Stories podcast. That I'm more inclined to...
Oh, story time would be so good.
Yeah, I'm more inclined to listen to that sort of stuff. I don't know. I definitely, as I've grown older, which annoys me, my patience for sitting down and reading has shrunk, which is weird. I thought it would have gone the other way. But I blame the TVs.
Yeah, I blame society.
I blame society for my inability to sit down and read more than an article's worth of information
I
at a
really
time.
enjoy the stories Allison writes.
Oh, Allison is so good.
Yeah, she brings
Oh
so
my
much
God.
character.
Yeah, I've tried to read almost anything she does because she's a phenomenal writer and a friend, and I love what she does. She's so good at her job. All right, what do we got? We talked about that already. Moving on. Comments on fan opinions and wishes on Magic Story characters versus wrestling. No, that's a Graham question. If Kambal and SRAM saw a Bundar on the Aradara Express, would they call the Paraka Club security?
Ow.
That's a whole lot of cards jammed together to make a silly thing.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. How many Magic-themed things that aren't cards are in the office? I've spotted a few on the shelves.
Garrick helmet. There's a Garrick over there.
There's a Garrick.
Yeah,
the
there's
Garrick
the-
axe.
The 3D printed Hedron.
Yeah, that. Creepy Doll is wearing the Kaladesh pin.
Yep.
We have an art book.
We have a Battle for Zendikar lunch pail. We have a couple big cards. Those don't really count.
Yeah.
Like oversized cards. We have... What else do we have? I think that's about it. Most of this stuff is in this room because it's on sort of display for the set behind us.
I mean, like, I suppose at PAX a couple of years ago, they were giving out Battle for Zendikar themed D8s that were Hedrons.
Yep, I have a few of those at home.
Yeah, and I got 3 of them, and those are technically like swag.
Yeah.
But they're useful, so
Yeah.
I use them as
They're sweet.
counters.
All right. Kyle asks, sorry, that last one was the Zom with no name. Thank you so much. Kyle asks, which non-legendary creature do you wish was for Commander EDH Highlander purposes? I kind of wish that the new black-green snake, what is it, from the new set? What's it called?
Constrictor?
Yeah, the Constrictor. I kind of wish that was a legendary.
What you're asking me is what card do I want to be able to bounce with Caracas?
This guy?
What?
No.
The
Winding Constrictor?
It's
Winding
the
Constrictor.
from Aether Revolt. I believe it's Winding Constrictor. It's the one that messes around with tokens and
Actually-
there it is.
If see, now I've gotten a horrible idea into my head, which is Restoration Angel.
Ooh.
Because if you've never been on the receiving end of an opponent soft locking you with Venser and Caracas.
Oh, yeah.
It's so frustrating because you target him, it's like bounce with Caracas. You target Caracas, bounce him, like bounce Caracas. I'm like, stop, just stop. It's, Jace did that to me once. I was not happy about it.
God, Cavern Harpy.
Cavern Harpy. Okay. That's a good call. I like Cavern Harpy a lot.
Flame tongue Kafu.
Oh. There's a reason all of these creatures aren't legendary creatures.
Snapcaster Mage.
Shriek Maw.
Jeez, okay, we need to stop now.
What about creatures that like more from like a design or like I guess Vorthosy standpoint like should have been.
Was
Like-
Nemesis of Reason a legendary creature?
Maybe?
Like
Maybe,
Snapcaster,
yeah.
I feel like could have easily been
Yeah, a legendary.
a legendary.
creature?
Like
Yeah.
it would be like whatever.
Yeah,
Some
Paul,
guy-
the legendary creature.
Some guy Snapcaster.
Yeah.
That's fair. I don't know. They do a pretty good job of certainly nowadays. They do a pretty good job of sticking that legendary subtype on named characters.
Yeah, like the one that springs to mind in Aether Revolt is the oh god, she has double strike. You can spend energy when she attacks to.
Get a second combat.
No.
Dome them for.
No, she's the one with 4 arms. She's like Doc Ock, but with a halberd.
Wow.
I don't remember
She's an
what that one
uncommon,
is.
but she had originally
Right, yeah,
been slated to be a legend.
Oh,
But
okay.
there were so many legendary creatures in the set already. They were like, somebody has to go.
Sorry.
I mean, yeah, you need to walk a fine balance between legendary and non-legendary creatures, right? So, all right. Hey, listen says, who in MTG do you ship?
Sorry, I was gonna say just quick random note. Winding Constrictor has a slight Oracle text on it.
Oh.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's so it says if one or more counters would be placed on an artifact or creature you control, that many of those counters plus 1 are placed on that permanent instead.
Yeah.
It now the Oracle text is that many plus 1 of each of those kinds of counters,
Oh.
which is how people played it anyway. But
Yeah.
it's more of a clarification thing.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you don't just get one
Yeah.
Right.
extra counter; you get one,
One
of
of
each
each.
kind.
Yeah. Neat.
Anyway.
Who
So,
do I ship?
who do you ship?
Well, I mean, Channel Fireball, I think, is the one that
I
the
really
fan
like
favorite.
it as Gruul Friends.
Gruul Friends is just objectively worse than Channel Fireball,
Oh, phooey.
Wow.
which is Chandra and Nissa.
What about shipping Snapcaster and the Gear?
The graveyard.
The blue. No, the Gear Hulk.
Oh, yeah.
The-
I thought you were shipping that guy with someone.
Sorry, is it?
Well, I mean, like that was the original combo, was
Yeah,
Channel
and
Fireball.
Fireball.
Yeah. I thought so. The guy from Channel was being shipped with someone.
with the fireball.
Yeah.
Size difference tag.
Painful relationship.
Or hey, how about the guy from Channel is shipped with the lady from Channel?
Oh. I want to ship.
I'm 7,000.
I want to. You know who I want to ship? I want to ship our friend Steve over here from whatever that dumb card was. The blue-red
Swerve.
Swerve with Gary.
Oh, okay.
Steve and Gary.
Right.
Gary.
Steve.
Which is great merchant, by the way.
Well, I mean, what about original Steve? Sakura Tribe Elder.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. I forgot that his name was Steve. Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to be on this one for a while.
Okay.
Okay. What's up, Paul?
I shipped the 2 guys from the Octopus Deck.
It's like, you don't want to... Sorry, it's like...
Those guys are about to have
we
a
have
real
10
tender
seconds,
tender
kiss me.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this is the moment when the truth between them becomes clear.
There's just a moment of silence and you just hear, don't let go. Wham!
That's awesome. All right. Lewis asks, this is another interesting question. It's another cost-based question. Do you think Magic shows, so not Wizards, but actual shows like this show and limited resources, that choose to ignore the financial cost of playing Magic are ultimately doing listeners a disservice? I don't think so.
No.
I mean, how?
Yeah, I think if you want to play this game, you have to spend money. But that's also not true. But I mean, you do have
Yeah.
to spend a little bit of money, but you can get into this game and spend a lot. Like I guess if there was a show out there for the budget friendly, like kitchen table, let's have fun. I mean, there's probably an audience for that for sure.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, like, I draft like twice a week, maybe, and that's like $30 in cash, but it's usually less than that because I ship what I
it's
draft
usually
back, and then
if
I
you,
win.
If you win a few games, then you can do
like
that.
you go 2 for 1, and like I spend maybe $20 a week on Magic, and
When I
that's
talk about
pretty
cards
sustainable.
that are playable in Highlander, I'm talking about the cards that are playable in Highlander. Like, they cost what they cost, and sometimes that really, really sucks. But, it's like, that's the ones that do the things that you want them to do.
It's also just I mean, I couldn't imagine listening or watching a show about Magic consistently. There are some shows like Professor over at Tolarian Community does a really great job on his YouTube channel about talking about budget decks from time to time. And he just straight out gives you the deck list and how much it costs, and it's really great. And it works really well in that format. But could you imagine listening to something like this show when we're talking about a Highlander deck and mentioning
if
the
I
price
had to break down every card
yeah,
in
if you had to
deck,
mention the price of every single
take 3
card,
times as long.
or listening to something like
because like even the market price point on something is not always relevant, because what you get a card for and what it's worth
yeah.
are not always the same. Because A, the market fluctuates. B, you can find deals in a lot of places. Like most of what I do when I go to conventions and stuff is look for stuff that hasn't been restickered in like 18 months.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes, just knowing the right people or making good trades and that sort of stuff, you can end up spending a lot less than what the cards are supposedly worth.
Yep.
And that's another aspect of the game that can be fun. Is
Yeah.
like
Also, like-
hunting for deals.
yeah. I mean, then there's also places like MTG Goldfish, which produce a lot of like budget standard decks,
Yeah.
budget modern decks.
Yeah, I think the content is there for you to find that talk about the cost of this game. But at the end of the day, I think it also can just so easily get in the way of talking about the actual game, of talking about what the decks do and how to play them, what the cards do, that you don't want to waste
Like,
your
imagine
time.
a repair show that told you how much every nut and bolt cost as they installed it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I think there is also just the nature of a lot of the hobbies that we take part in. Like, when I played Warhammer 40K and Warhammer Fantasy, it was just the nature of the thing that, you would drop hundreds of dollars on this, right?
Yep.
When you played War Machine, you would also drop hundreds of dollars on it. And, if you want to do PC gaming or video gaming, you had to have a budget in
Yep.
mind. And a lot of the time, that's like $1,000,
Yep.
right? Or $1,500. And that is just kind of like the barrier to entry, and that sucks. But
Yeah,
that's
like,
also
well,
kind of the nature of
Yeah,
the beast.
we'll never tell you that that's not
Oppressive,
that's perfectly fine, but because it is a little too expensive. But
Yep.
but that's what it is. And,
Yeah.
I remember there's a great limited resources episode quite a while ago now, and I think they've probably done other ones about, but this one specifically I'm thinking of was basically about sort of how to play. I mean, they're talking about online, especially.
Oh, but how to go into
play
it?
the most amount of Magic for the least amount of money, basically. Like, not going infinite, but making it a real slow bleed.
Right.
In terms of how much money you're spending on it, and talking about the sort of EV of the different things and stuff. And it was very interesting, and giving some good ideas for that kind of stuff. So. It's a topic that comes across sometimes.
Yep.
Right.
But there isn't that much value, or there for us anyway. I guess it's not that there's not value, it's just we're not that interested in that aspect.
Yeah. And I think actually, doing a disservice is how, I suppose we could be applying pressure on wizards if that's the meaning there to.
No, I don't think that's what they're meaning. Is just like that we should, if we talk about a deck that's super sweet, we should be like, oh, also it will cost you this much.
I think at the end of the day, you need. It's like any other hobby. It's going to cost you money, and you need to be aware of that, right? Like, I think it's on you and on any player to be aware that this hobby is not an inexpensive hobby, especially if you're.
Furthermore, because of the way the market works, like even if we did furnish people with information, that would change sometimes even overnight.
Yeah, or during the recording of the episode.
Seriously,
And,
like it can sometimes just go whoop.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of different
Don't
ways to
invest
play.
in magic cards.
Yeah, they aren't an investment. Like I've gotten 3 weeks of play out of a sealed pool because our local game store with each new set launched runs a sealed pool league, and you buy 6 packs, and you play with it for 5 weeks.
Yep. All right, so let's get it. We're definitely not going to get through all these questions, but let's do a few more. And Paul actually really well segued into the next question, which is, I want to play a draft online. How would be the most money-efficient way of doing it on Magic the Gathering online for a new player? Go find... I don't, unfortunately, remember the episode in question. Honestly, hit Marshall up. I mean, I think Paul's going to quickly see if he can find it. If we don't, hit Marshall up on Twitter, @Marshall_LR, and he should be able to help you out there. But from my experience, open up the account, play with the new play points, like the new player points that you get. Make sure to sell your cards if you're not interested in constructed. Flip your cards to bots as best you can. It's not the most intuitive. Jump online, look for some guides on how to do it. Look for some bot recommendations. Look for the ones that are going to try to buy the most cards as possible, because a lot of bots are just going to take the ones that are worth like a significant amount of tickets. Try to find the ones that will happily take your commons, even if it's like 0.1 ticket or 0.0 couple points for a ticket. It'll add up eventually. It also just won't clog up your collection, which is nice. And trade pack. Always be aware of how much are packs being sold for by bots for tickets, then how much money do you actually have to pay for them on a store? Because there is a storefront on Magic Online where you can buy packs and you can buy tickets. But tickets, you can buy tickets from bots for less money than you can from
From the storefront?
From the storefront. Like, they have a little bit less of a value there, so you can generally buy packs. What that means is you can buy packs for a little less than what they're actually worth on the storefront, so always be aware of how much a pack is going to cost. Because there's different ways you can enter drafts, right? You could just pay straight tickets, which is essentially paying money. You can pay with a couple tickets and booster packs, or you can play with play points, which you get from winning. So obviously that's an easy way to keep playing on the cheap, is win a lot. But that's not always an option.
Win more.
But the other thing is, leagues are great. Play in leagues and play in the friendly Swiss leagues, because that way you're getting your full 3 games. The single elimination leagues are not a place you want to go if you're just starting out.
Yeah.
Because if you lose, you're done, and that means you only get 1 game, and that's not great value. Whereas if you join the Swiss friendly league, you get to play all 3 of your games, which is great. So I would highly recommend doing that. And Paul, were you able to find what episode that was?
I mean, obviously, it's a topic that does come up a fair amount. There is actually this is an old episode.
I feel like it was with Brian.
Yeah, this is an old episode with Brian.
Okay.
Called it is episode 196. How to go infinite on Magic Online.
There you go.
And obviously, part of that is that you probably won't go infinite unless you're Brian.
Yes.
But the ways that you can push yourself more into that,
you can get the most
area.
bang out of your buck, right?
Yeah.
So, all right.
So that's 196.
Sweet.
How to go infinite on Magic Online.
All right, 2 more questions.
And that is a couple of years old now. So some of the info about like the prize distribution, I think, has changed slightly.
It's going to change, but there's still information.
The fundamentals are there.
Yeah. All right. Nicholas asks, which do you prefer, net decking or brewing your own deck?
Brewing.
Yes.
I mean,
your answer.
you go to net decks for like, what are the good cards, and for your meta analysis.
I think I am the same as Cam. Is like I do both, where I'm like I look for the cards that are playable, and it's weird net decking for the format like Highlander, because it's not completely solve, but the cards that are played in the format kind of are.
Yeah.
So in that sense, you look for
Yeah,
you know,
'cause
what are playables.
Ben Wheeler did the breakdown of what are the cards that actually see play in Highlander.
Yeah, I mean,
right, and there was a pool of like, what, about 1,000 cards?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you want to draw the line, but you know, there is a pool of cards that are the best in Highlander
Right.
consistently,
Yeah.
and from that you can build many configurations of decks. And occasionally, you know, you test out something goofy and dirtily, and sometimes it's garbage, and other times it's like unexpectedly kind of sweet in a particular type of shell.
Yep.
So how often do you brew a deck all yourself and then go online and find a net deck that's almost exactly the same?
Not often.
Yeah, not often.
I don't make good decks.
All right.
Not true, but
Let's bring this home.
okay.
Last question is from Mike. Dominic. What one thing would you tell your initial Magic playing self to either help or encourage them? What would it be?
Don't trade away that tropical island.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would tell my 1993, 1994 self to
Buy the Lotus.
Yeah, buy the
But
Lotus.
it's $100.
just
buy
buy it,
The Lotus.
and then put it in the sleeve, and then this other sleeve,
And
and
then
then
this
this
other
hard,
sleeve.
and then this other hard
and
sleeve,
keep it out of direct sunlight.
and take it to your mom and your dad, and tell them to put it in the safety deposit box, and don't touch it until you're 30, and then be rich.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah. Obviously, that's the stupid, silly answer.
buy beta.
Yeah. I think I probably would have told my early self not to drop the game for so long. I'm sad that I missed as much Magic as I did.
Yeah.
I think I would have, because it was definitely a case of, I remember I stopped playing because I felt like I was too old at that point, even though I was like 12 or 13. I'm
think
like,
maybe
no, this is a kid's game.
I would
What
have
am I
told
doing?
myself, learn how to actually play the game.
Yeah.
Because I actually didn't know.
Oh, God,
I
no.
just thought they were cool cards, and
Yeah.
I spent way too much money and,
Yeah,
and
what-
never actually built decks or played games.
I definitely played as a kid. I remember going to tournaments with Jeremy at Bowl and Books. That's how I first met. That's how we both first met Dale, like a million years ago. And it was a lot of fun. But what we were doing probably wasn't really playing. I don't remember ever doing well. I don't ever really remember winning. I just remember going and doing like limited sealed decks things, and it was fun. Like it was great. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I would say don't quit the game like you did. It is just a game. I mean, this kind of comes back to the whole tilting thing, right? Is that, you know, it's a game, enjoy it, have fun with it.
Can you imagine telling your like teenage self to not tilt?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that good luck with that, right?
Yeah.
So
Turns up volume on Marilyn Manson.
that's what I did last night.
Good times.
All right, I think that's going to do it. I apologize, guys. There were a lot more questions than I thought there was, because I asked that question yesterday, and we didn't actually manage to record this yesterday, so a whole bunch more questions came in throughout the day and night, so hopefully we'll get to those. I'll do my best to maybe answer them on Twitter over the next couple days in 140 characters as best I can. But hey, thank you so much for watching. I totally forgot at the start of the show. Why did you just poke me? Anytime we forget, just throw something at us, Paul. Card Kingdom sponsors this. No, don't throw anything now. Oh, you're not. You're just turning down your mic.
I reminded you like literally
Yeah,
right
I
before
know.
we started, and you were like, yeah.
Yeah. I got it. I totally forgot. This podcast, along with our Magic stream, which we do every Thursday over at twitch.tv/LoadingReadyRun, you should come watch. Starts at 2 p.m. Pacific. Is sponsored by CardKingdom.com/LRR. That all that does is applies the affiliate code. It means that they know that we sent you there, and that it is wise for them to continue to sponsor us. Because, you know, we love those guys. We have been sponsored by them for, honestly, it's been like, I would not be surprised if it's coming up on like 3 or 4 years at this point. Like, it's been a long time. We've been working them with, I think we were like the second thing that they ever sponsored. And we are now currently, I think, the longest running group of people they have sponsored, which is kind of cool. So we really like them. They're a great place for you to go and pick up singles. Sealed product if you live within the United States. Check out their battle decks. They're really cool decks designed by a guy over there named Justin. They're like 60 card. I think maybe they're standard legal, but they might not even be that. But they're generally single colored and they're really well balanced and they're a lot of fun. I've had a chance to check them out and play around with them a little bit. I'd love to do more of it. I think they're great. Honestly, I've thought about getting them for AFK one night. I think it would be a lot of fun. So check those out. Board games, playmats, dice, counters, everything. They have anything and everything that you need. So go check them out. And remember to add that /LRR at the end there. We are unfortunately out of our current button.
Oh, no.
Which is great because it means you guys are ordering. It means you guys are buying stuff from them. We even ordered more than usual and ran out faster than usual. So thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it. We've designed the next button. We'll send it off to the printers next week, and hopefully they'll be back in stock at Card Kingdom within the next few weeks. The new one is going to be the 0459 button. We're into the last 5 minutes of our game on BitGo.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a white background thing with the. It's going to be good. I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So really, thank you so much, Card Kingdom, for sponsoring us, and also, of course. This podcast, along with a whole bunch of the other stuff that we do, is brought to you by you guys over at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. We literally could not do what we're doing without your support, so we love you guys. Thank you so much. If you are not supporting us over on Patreon, maybe go check it out. It's kind of cool. It's a great way to support this podcast and everything else, the crap shots and all that other jazz that we do throughout the weeks. So thank you so much, and I guess we'll see you next week for more TapTapConcede. That's what the show's called, right?
Yes. You got that correct.
Now I don't know.
I don't remember anymore.
Now I don't. Now I don't even remember if I turned the stove off at home anymore.
Dear God.
And I don't
Why
even...
would you do that?
Actually, one last thing. We're going to be at GP Vancouver next weekend.
Yeah.
Who's we?
Myself and Cameron and Adam and Graham and Kathleen. Graham and Kathleen are going to only be there probably for the Friday, Saturday afternoon-ish. Because they got to come back and work and stuff. But we're going to be there all weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. If you see us,
come say hi, please. We would love to meet you. We're going to be there all weekend. I don't think any of us are playing in the main event. We're just going to be jamming side drafts and stuff like that.
Just what are the dates on it? Because when this actually goes up, it'll be
immediately.
Tomorrow.
No. Because So this should be going up on Monday when you were watching this, or at least when it goes up, it should be Monday the 13th. GP Vancouver is Friday the 17th, 18th, and 19th. So the main event is on the 18th and 19th, but the convention center is open and firing side events and stuff like that all day Friday as well. It's a lot of fun. If you've never been to a GP before, please come if you're in the area. GPs are so awesome.
Yeah, it's like
even
packs for Magic.
Yeah, even if you're not playing in the main event, come hang out. It's free to walk in. You can enter side events. We'll probably try to fire maybe in the afternoon on all of the days. We'll split off and try to fire a bunch of different side drafts and stuff like that. Come check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be there all weekend.
Yeah, I'll bring my Highlander deck.
Yeah.
And as Alex mentioned, it's a good place to get some deals on cards.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a bunch.
If you browse through vendors and
a whole bunch of vendors
and stuff.
Yeah. If you're it's a great place to trade. It's a great place to pick up those hard to find foils because all the vendors bring a bunch of foils and stuff like that. It's how I foil out my Pauper cube. Every time I go to a GP, I just try to pick up a dozen or so foils.
Vendors at events are. They usually bring their most high-end stuff, which coincidentally tends to be the most playable stuff anyway. So
absolutely, it's a great place. So come check it out if you're going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. And actually, the next episode will probably be our GP recap episode.
Ooh, yeah.
So Cameron and myself and Adam will probably sit down next weekend.
On the ferry.
Oh, God. No, we're not doing that. Maybe I was thinking about recording a bonus episode at the GP.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
I don't know how we're going to do that. Logistically, we'll have to figure that out. I definitely want to stream from the GP. I'm bringing my laptop. I'm bringing my camera. I'm bringing my mic. We're definitely doing that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next week. Bye, guys.
Adios.